Hello everyone, it's Andrea and welcome back to my channel. I have a really fun layout to share with you today, and I'm going to show you the supplies that we're going to use. I'll show you the photo and then we'll get building. So first and foremost, I'm going to work with my paper pumpkin kit. This is the May 2024 kit. I did not enroll in time to get the kit with the stamp set. Got to be honest. So this is the refill kit that I was able to purchase because I am a subscriber, but I just didn't logistically know how to get this in time, being a new Stampin' Up girl. And so I have the refill kit, which means that I don't have the stamp set and the little ink dot, but I have all the supplies. So let's dive into this kit. It is one that is supposed to make 9 cards, 3 of each. And I'm going to take 1/3. So I'm going to take the pieces from 1, 1, and 1 plus 3 of the envelopes, and I'm going to make a layout with you today. You get some punch outs. So I'm going to use, there was 3 sheets. I'm going to use one of these sheets. Like I said, there are 9 envelopes. I'm using 3 of those. 3 of these little card fronts. Using 1. This beautiful, like mottled kind of paper. That's 1 card front. This is another card front. And then let's see what's down here in the box. I've got some things already punched out. Another card front. Love these. These are great, great masculine cards. That's a card base, I should say. Another card front. We have 3 of those, so we'll use 1 of those. We have 3 punch outs. I've punched 1 out already. I don't know if we're going to use these trees. I think we're going to skip those. So in any case, we're just using 1 of each piece. There are also die cuts. They're great little die cuts, and these are meant for the sentiments, but we're going to use them in a different way. In addition to our paper pumpkin kit, I'm going to bring in the Nature's Sweetness Specialty Designer paper, and it comes with 12 sheets. Each of these sheets has a front side that is gilded. You can see it's like gold embossed. Lovely, isn't it? There are 2 of each of these, but I've already used 1 of these, so you'd get 2 of these in your paper pack. This is the back. So the back is just a muted pattern. Look at this. Aren't these just gorgeous? I was picturing like wedding photos would work really well on here, but there's just so much you can do with this. And these 2 have a back, just a little checkered pattern. And then we've got this beautiful, it's a smaller scale floral. You get 2 of these as well. I'm going to flip this over, and there we go. I probably won't use the back sides quite as much as I'm going to use the front. I just think they're spectacular. It would hurt me to put adhesive on this and use it this way, but that's just me. Now this one, I love this print here. I love that it has gold embossing just flecked on it. And the back side of this is a beautiful paper. Here is another gilded piece with lots of leaves. Love that the whole thing is just so nice. And then this back side is not gilded, doesn't have any sparkles, but I do like this as well. It's a good textural background piece. And then we have this. It is like a kind of a distressed check pattern. It is really pretty. And then the back side, don't be scared when I flip this over. This one is a bit much for me. I don't know what you do except maybe use these on cards. It's a bit much. We're just going to ignore that. I'm going to go right back to this side. So my plan is to use the very first sheet and then the very last sheet here. So I'm going to put this aside and we're going to just get started on building our layouts. Let me show you where this project came to be. My kids recently went to a Morgan Wallen concert here in New Jersey, and they actually took some really nice photos. This is my son Edward, and he doesn't like to be in photos, but I've been getting some good ones of him recently. And he even sent me photos. Can you believe that? He must be growing up. So we have Eddie, Emma, Bella, and then Bella's boyfriend Hunter right there in the background. So I have these beautiful photos of the kids. I definitely want to scrapbook them. And I felt that the tones that were in that kit were just perfect for this event. And so we're going to modify it. We're going to modify that kit to fit my photos. So of course we're going to start with a sheet of White Daisy cardstock. I'm going to bring that into frame. And I have gone ahead and I have taken that one sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock, and there was actually a misprint in mine. I've got this white splat right here that does not belong. It's not on my other sheet. What I did is I cut this, and I cut it so I had a 3-inch piece and a 9-inch piece. I'm going to use the 9-inch piece over on the left hand page. So we're going to get that on here quickly, and then I'll show you what else we're going to do. Just going to line that 9 by 12 piece up with the outer edge, the outer left edge here of my cardstock, and we're going to adhere that down. It's just so beautiful. I'm so into these like background pieces that are so textural. And now I have another sheet that I'm bringing in, and this is that one that has that really, really obnoxious pattern on the back. You're not going to get an honest review from me. This is just a bit much for me, this back pattern. But the front is one of the most gorgeous backgrounds that I've ever seen. So I'm actually going to bring this in, and I'm going to trim this for 3 inches because I want to completely cover the left-hand side of my page. With this. So we're going to build this base page simply by putting that 3-inch strip right down next against the 12-inch strip. Okay, so we've got my left-hand page all laid out. Now we need to build the right-hand page. And the right-hand page, you would think I'm going to do the reverse, but not quite. And here's why. I've got that 3-inch piece left over of this darker paper. And I told you I've got that little flaw in it, but that's okay because we're going to cover it up. I've got plans. I'm going to show you this. Okay, so I'm just lining that up. I don't want to see the edges. Okay, we're going to cover that. And here's how we're going to do it. I have 2 envelopes that I would like to put here on the page. I had decided that, I could have taken that 9-inch piece and completely covered this, but I absolutely love this paper so much that I don't think I want to do that. And here's what I think I'm going to do instead. I think that I'm going to cut strips that will cover here, here, and here. So I'm going to cut 3 1/2-inch strips. So I'm going to have 1/2 by 9-inch strips, and we're going to lay those down across the page. And in fact, let me do 3/4 of an inch strips across the top and the bottom. And just to be sure, because my next photo mats might be a little smaller than what I'm planning on using. I'm going to use these for photo mats. So once again, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. And I do really like this one. I'm still getting to, figure it out. It's a little bit tight because it's brand new, but it's finally arrived. You've seen me in some other videos struggling without it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the 3/4 of an inch line, and I'm going to make a cut. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to push that one over. Another 3/4 of an inch cut. And then we're just going to do a 1/2 an inch cut. And that's leaving me a lot of paper to use in the future. I could have, like I said, I could have covered it, but why waste that much paper? I'm definitely into saving paper. If you've not already learned that about me, it's something that I really feel strongly about, getting the most value out of my purchases that I can. So I'm just going to lay a strip of tape here. I'm also going to lay a strip of tape right through the middle. So I'm just lining this up, and I'm going to go right here. That should do it. And we are going to just lay down our strips of cardstock. So I've got the 3/4 of an inch one. That's just going to go right along the bottom. I've got this upside down, I know. This is the top that's closest to me now. Just making sure that I get that lined up with the edge. And then the one that's going to go right through the middle. So now we have saved some paper. Like I said, these are going to go somewhere about here. It's also dawned on me as I'm building this that I'm going to need a little bit of coverage right down this side. So I'm going to take the paper. I now have a 10-inch tall piece left. So I'm just going to cut couple of three, I'm going to cut 1 3/4 of an inch strip right off of here. Let's just err on the side of caution. Let's make this 1 inch by 10 inches. Okay. I'm going to set this aside. Still have a very usable piece. So knowing that this is 10 inches, I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to make it 5 and 5. And let's hope that this really works out. So my thought is that I can put these down right here and that you wouldn't even notice. And it's looking like we can do that. So I'm going to get these glued into place. Like so. So in hindsight, if I had used that whole 9 by 12 inch piece, I wouldn't have had to have paper pieced this, but still I feel like this was worth saving, this piece right here. It would have been much easier to lay the whole sheet down, but like I said, I'm very much into conserving the paper. I have a couple of card fronts right here, and I'm going to use these as photo mats. I'm going to cut them both in half. So I'm going to just lay these on to my cutter. I'm going to move it to the 4 1/4 inch mark here and cut down. And when I do that, I have 2 pieces that are just perfect to make photo mats out of. And I'm thinking they're going to go somewhere right about here, and these are going to bump up right next to them. That is my plan. Now, you might notice that they're varying heights because the envelope is just a little bit thicker than the other, a little bit taller, and that's okay. That's part of my plan, but I'm just seeing how these line up. I think that I do want to cover more of this over here. So I'm going to move these over. Let's glue these down. So I have 4 photos that are already matted. So I'm just going to lay those down and let's see how they all look. I think I want Hunter and Bella's pictures to kind of be divided up. So I think this, like this, might be a great placement for them. I do want the photos to line up so that they're all at the same height. Do you guys remember those little punch outs? I'm going to bring those in. I want to put one here, and I do want to put one right here. So I'm just going to adhere those down, and I'm just going to try to keep them over here on the flap of the envelope. And I'm just trying to make sure that they're pretty well lined up here. And I have a few of those punch outs that I showed you. There are actually 3 of them. I just put a little bit of foam adhesive on the back, and I want to just put one right here. They're just cute little decorative elements. I don't quite know what these are for, but maybe I'll look through my Cricut collection or something, or my dies, and just see if I can't get a star or something to put here. And they're a little bit different in shape, but I still like them nonetheless. So I think that they make good little design elements for this page. This page is pretty much come together. So I'm just going to scoot that over just a tiny bit. And now I have the left-hand page that I'm bringing back in, and you can see how this is all kind of lining up. Now I do have one big photo of the kids that I showed you before. I have 2 smaller photos of Eddie and Emma, and these are all 3x4s. And for all of my 3x4s, I should mention, I use an Epson photo printer. I use the EcoTank 8550. It's the same as the 8500. I love the quality that I get on these, and I use the Project Life app on my phone to print 2 of these on one 4x6, and then I just simply detach them. So I could put them down without photo mats, but remember those card fronts that we had? I think that these would make a really, really good background for these photos. First though, I do want to go ahead and just take a look at photo mats. I want like a smaller mat. Now I could definitely use this. I did want to try to keep this element. Yeah, and I think I'm going to trim that out just a bit afterwards, but I do like this. I'm going to double mat it, or the other option is just simply to go with this. This might be the best option. I think I'm just going to use simple navy photo mats on this side. And then we'll see if we can't trim that out to be a design element somewhere else on the page. So I've got one, and I've got another, and I'm still using Close to My Heart solid colored cardstock here. So this was Sapphire, and I'm using the darker side of Sapphire. I'm hoping at some point that Stampin' Up! Decides to go ahead and carry our cardstock. I know they're carrying bits and pieces of it when it coordinates with one of the layouts that, or one of the paper lines that they have purchased from Close to My Heart for us. But I'm hoping to get that back in all colors. Now this one I'm going to just mount. I think I'm going to put Emma over here. And I just like that Eddie sweatshirt being a little green picks up the greenish blue over here and the aqua color. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just put her right onto this photo mat, and I'm hoping that you guys can see. I know that it's a little bit dark, so let me move that off. And I'm just going to mount this photo. I'm centering it from left to right and giving it the same border, top and bottom. And I'm going to do the same right here. Centering left to right, giving it the same border. Now this one's a little bit bigger than the other photo, the other background that Emma's photo is on. I can tell because they've got a much wider margin around it, but that's okay. They don't have to be exactly the same size. Now I'm just going to bring this in. I just don't want this extra up here, so we're going to just trim away a portion of it. I'm thinking like, let's just see, probably about 1/4 of an inch, just shy of 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, let's do 1/4 of an inch. We can always, whoops, that was my paper score, and that looks perfect. So we've trimmed away 1/4 of an inch, and it gave us the perfect mat. And then this one, I think it's going to be about 1/4 of an inch as well. Let's see how that looks. That's a little bit too big still, so I could move this photo up just a tiny bit. I think that that would work. Let me just center it a little better. So we kept these easy by just trimming 1/4 of an inch off of each. And I do think that'll work. Okay, so I've got the kids all mounted. Now I have this big 5x7 photo that I did a 5 1/8 by 7 1/8 background of the sapphire. And that gave me a 1/16 of an inch border all around. And the same thing here. I'm just going to go ahead, glue it down, and I need to trim off just a tiny bit here. So let me just go ahead and put down this photo onto its photo mat. Again, I'm just eyeballing top to bottom. And when I see what the top to bottom looks like, then I'm going to give it just an equal distance right there. And then I just need to trim. I'm going to actually open up my trimmer. Like I said, it's just a tiny bit stiff right now because it's so brand new. And let's just see where we end up. I have it now on the 7.5 inch mark. Let's see if that was a good placement or not. And in fact, I think it's pretty good. So I've trimmed that down. Now I've got this strip here that's 1 inch. I'm going to cut this right in half while it's still here, because this is going to make for a really good little area to journal, maybe the date or, you know, any more details that we need to. I think we're done with cutting for the moment. Let's just set that aside and let's look at the placement of this layout. So we have the 2 strips that we'll just lay aside. We've got this big photo here of the kids. And I love doing one big photo that's really eye-catching. And like I said, these guys are moving over here because I didn't adhere them down perfectly. But I'm thinking something like this. I don't, you know, I could put this down here. That might work too, just keeping them in a line instead of making them go kind of, you know, a little crazy. I was thinking about angling them, but I don't know that I love that idea. And here's what I'm thinking. Maybe that will work. Let's see. I just need to make sure that I have enough room because I have a title that I've made. I made this on my Cricut. Did it all on my own. One night at a time, world tour. I just wanted to customize this. And I didn't really know if I wanted to put it up here or down below. I kind of like it down below, but I wanted room for those little journaling strips, and I don't like journaling up on top. Let's see how it feels if we place this up on top like so. That would probably work. And then I have little journaling strips. That would give us more. I think I would have to pull this down though. I really feel like pulling it down will weight it better. So we've got just a little bit of area down here for the journaling strips, and pull the title down a bit. So pulling that title down a bit, I like it. Generally, I would pop dot something like this, but I'm not going to in this case because I have all of these letters that need to be glued down. But I think that that spacing's pretty good. And let me just see if I move these down. I don't know. I think I really have to keep them in line with the other photos that are next to them. It's just going to help move my eye across the page a little bit better. And I think that that is a better fit. I know that generally I would try to angle them and such, but this is just, yeah. And I think that I will have to keep these in a line too, which means that this photo mat will come just a touch off the edge a little bit more than this one. And that's okay though. I think it'll all work. But since we have these two, I definitely want to add a third. But maybe something down here would look good. I could move these over just a bit. And I know it's unusual to have like a design element floating down here off the bottom of the page, but I do like it. And I do like how the white like kind of makes it a little bit more. If I did this without the white, it would just kind of, you know, blend in. I'm going to glue all this down, and we'll come back and we'll talk about finishing touches on this layout. So far, really quick, really easy. Wouldn't you agree? Before we take a look at the finished layout, I want to talk to you about this little Stampin' Cut and Emboss die set right here as it pertains to Paper Pumpkin. So to do so, let me just explain. Once you become a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, and you can do that, I'll put the link down below in my video's description. You can try it for a month, you can try it for 3 months, 6 months, a whole year. Once you do, you unlock the entire backlog of any full kits or refills that are still available. And so that's how I purchased this May 2024 kit. Although I am a subscriber, I missed getting this full kit. That's how I got this little tiny refill pack, which worked perfectly for my needs. I didn't really need the stamp set and the tape, etc. But sometimes there are also, it's my understanding anyway, that there are also coordinating dies that go with several months worth of Paper Pumpkin kits. And you will see that this shape right here does work really well. It coordinates with the shapes that you see here on these cards. And the butterflies worked with another prior kit. So long story short, you can purchase this. It's really inexpensive, but cute little die set. So I have used the shape right here in our layout. So I cut out the center of this and used it because that left me with a good piece here. I could use this for another project, but that is what you see right down here behind my journaling strips. And then I was a little bit tighter with where I placed it up in the corner here because I still wanted more usable paper. And I have that down here. I like it there because now I have 3 of these shapes tucked in here. And the rule of 3 is always pretty good to have. It also pulls my eye across and kind of mimics the shapes over here. So we have 3 of the white shapes. I have my title down. There was a little tiny strip that was meant for one of the cards, maybe a sentiment or so. So I cut that in half and dovetailed it. Just tuck that behind this photo here. I thought it needed just a little bit more. And I do like how this all came out. I did line up the photos so that they were, number one, the photos were in line with each other on this page. And then also that they were lined up across here. I just feel like that visually moves your eye across the page a little bit better. And it's kind of funny because we've got a smaller photo mat, a medium, and then the bigger one in the envelope. Speaking of the envelope, let's go back to that title because you can see I've only used 2 of the envelopes and I had the third. When I created this title in Cricut, I used that envelope. I opened up the envelope, pulled it apart so it was laying flat, and I was able to cut the world tour. the background letters here right out of that envelope. So I didn't waste even that third envelope. I put it to use right here. Now you might notice on both pages, I actually went ahead and used my little container of frosted, these are loose frosted dots. My embellishments from Stampin' Up! Are very limited. I have to build my repertoire. So I had them, I have the deep bluish green here. And so I just used 3 going up the side here and 3 down here. I liked that it was with the hexagons in both places. It kind of pulled it together, even though it was across the aisle. And then these, you might remember that we had these odd round elements here. So talking to my daughter Isabella, who's the ringleader in this Morgan Wallen concert outing here, I asked her, I said, what does he have? Does he have stars or cowboy boots or like what? And she's like, a lot of fire. He had red, white, and blue. And I'm like, that doesn't really work for the aesthetic of my layout. So I went stash diving. I needed something for here. And initially I thought maybe stars. So I'm going way back, girls. I mean, look at how old this is. These are designer brads and they've got to be like at least 12 years old, maybe even older. And I had never used them and they're in my stash and I quite frankly didn't know what to use them for. So I pulled out these bronze colored ones here. I did play with the gold to see, and I just didn't like how the gold looked over here. It mimicked the writing, but I think that this was just a more contrasty kind of color, and I liked it better. The gold wasn't quite the same between here and there. This one's more of a yellowy gold, so the gold didn't work. This bronzy color definitely did. So let me pull this off here. I'm going to show you how easily I put this to work. I was thinking, how can I get rid of the eyelet part here, or the brad part? I didn't want that. So I opened it up like so. And I just went back and forth a couple times. And of course, it's not really working quickly here. But my other ones, I just went back and forth like twice. And the metal just gave way. And look, I had this backing here. Was rid of all those brad pieces. And then I just took a little square of foam. I'm still using some close to my heart foam here that's left from our shaker windows. So I took a square piece, fitted in there. That made it kind of flush with the actual backing here because it's kind of indented. So I needed a foam dot there so that this way, when I peeled it, I could just center it right on here. And I kind of like the way that looked. It just finished up those little plain circles. There was no reason really to have them. And so I felt like that was another good way to use it. So I can't tell you how much I love these paper pumpkin kits. And, you know, they just have made creating fun and easy. And I feel like since coming over to Stampin' Up! From close to my heart, I feel like I've hit this refresh button, and I hope that that's carrying across. I just feel like more inspired to work with the papers. I like the scale of some of these papers here. I like that there's just great background papers. There's bold papers too, don't get me wrong. You've seen me use them, but I do like the variety. I just felt like I was kind of stuck in a rut with close to my heart. And here, I'm just able to take some pieces and within minutes create a layout. The longest part of this entire layout was actually me creating this title on Cricut. That was it. Everything else just came together so quickly, and it was just so fun to make this layout. And that's something. The joy in creating is back, and I'm just so happy. I'm glad it's here. And so I hope that's coming through on these videos. I hope you can see how much fun I'm having playing with these and how quick and easily these layouts come together. Just love everything about this. So even if you didn't go to a Morgan Wallen concert, you know, this is just a great way to document a graduation, a great way to document maybe a trip down the shore. These kind of remind me of Coral a bit. You know, lots of different things. Father's Day, of course, you've seen a lot of people do a very masculine take on this. All that you would need to do is create your own title or use a title that you have out of a sticker or a Cricut cut, whatever it is that you desire, and you could totally change the theme. So I used it for Morgan Wallen One Night at a Time tour, and you could use it for something else. Now, I will link all of these products down below in the video's description so that you can check out a Paper Pumpkin membership and so that you can find this beautiful, beautiful paper here, the background paper that we've used, get yourself a couple packs because this is going to be so versatile. It's going to be incredible. And you could even add some color onto the white backgrounds here if you wanted in another project. In any case, I want to thank you for stopping by my channel. And if you're not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you won't miss any of my upcoming projects that I have to offer. And thanks for watching. Have a creative day.